Any names, places, or likenesses mentioned are used for storytelling purposes and may be fictional or speculative. The opinions expressed by guests are their own and do not reflect those of Cosmic Crumbs or its hosts. No guarantees are made regarding the accuracy of any stories discussed, and we are not responsible for how this content is interpreted or used. This show contains vulgar language and sometimes graphic material. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good evening, and welcome to the very first episode of Cosmic Crumbs. This is a brand new show. I think I'm going to call it the CCP for short. We're going to take it back from China, actually. But this is a show where we talk about the strange, the odd, crazy things, and most importantly, food. And sometimes crazy, odd, and strange things about food. Some of you know me from other shows, which I'm still doing full time, but this one is going to be a completely different experience. It's going to be about 50% weird stuff and 50% food. And if we get into an interesting rabbit hole like, cryptids, aliens, ghosts, folklore, true crime on the first 50%, first half of the show, then we will keep it going. And who knows, we may, what's up, everybody? What's up, Morgana? If we get into a topic and we feel like talking about it for 2 months, we may do the first half of the show as long as we want to until we get tired of the topic. But this show is going to rely heavily not just on me, but you, and I've set up submission forms for strange stories and recipes. So if you've got weird hometown legends, if you've got personal creepy stories, if you've got really anything, if you've got home family recipes, I've got the link tree to the show. It is right here next to my name, actually. So it's linktree.com. And there's a strike through the zero so that you know it's a zero instead of an O. Somebody already took it. What's up, Cecil? And yeah, it's going to be a super fluid show. We'll just see where it goes. We'll talk about anything. We'll also have guests intermittently, interesting people who have interesting things to say. I would really like to talk to food people who are interested in the weird things. So I'm going to try to get some chefs on, stuff like that, pit masters who are mainly food people, and just talk a little bit about not food stuff, maybe have some personal stories. But if at any point any of you or anybody listening to this after the fact in the future have a guest idea, let me know, and I will reach out and try to get them on to talk about food. But with that said, let me actually show the link tree here. And forgive me, it's a little bit clunky because I haven't logged into any of the stuff on this computer in particular. What's up, Landa? I don't know if I've said that already or not, but I'm going to change views for this. And so this is what the link tree looks like when you navigate there. You've got a section to share your stories. You've got a section to share recipes. And if you click into it, it's going to take you to a form. Just put your name, email address, and whatever weird story. It could be anything. Nightmare trip to the toilet for Cecil, for instance. But, if you go in here and you submit a story to share, let me know whether you want to remain anonymous or not, because if not, I'm going to tell the world who it is. Same thing for recipes. You click the box, you get a nice little form here for recipe name, what it is, what kind of dish, how hard it is to make, how much it makes, and cooking time, ingredients, directions, so on and so forth. The only things really required on this is just the description of what it is, ingredients, and directions. And if you want to, it can be ever how easy or ever how hard you really want it to be, as far as recipe entry goes. But I thank everybody for being here for the first run. I hope it's actually, I'm hoping it's live everywhere right now. And I may actually, let me check some stuff real quick. That might be a good idea. That is actually a great idea, Morgana. I'll change this form to where people can attach pictures. I need to do that for both of them, because if anybody has any crazy like ghost pictures and stuff, I want to share that too. But I think the goal, I would love to build enough people who submit stories and submit recipes to where that's the whole hour. Because first of all, I just love weird stories and recipes. And really what I mean is for when I don't have guests on, because I'm going to keep it going week to week. I think that's important to build a community. So on the weeks that we don't have guests, we are going to literally be talking about weird stuff for the first 30, and then we'll do some food on the back end. I actually have, Cecil. Let me see. I just want to check if we're live everywhere real quick. Obviously, we're live on Facebook because of Morgana. Noise. Get this over here. Nice. Thanks, Morgana, for that. And I didn't think I was going to have to actually log into anything because, again, I haven't logged into any of this stuff on this podcasting computer, but it looks like I'm going to have to log into Rumble. Let's see. So any other feedback about the forms, though, while we're looking at it? Pictures is a great idea. Is there anything? I know the stories one's pretty short. Is there anything other than maybe pictures on the stories that you all would want to see? And I did want to say the stories can be about anything. So it could be scary stories. It could be, I personally don't care. Even if you want to submit like, am I the asshole? I'll answer that. Scary stories, cryptid stories, alien stories, stories that you don't think anybody would believe. I'll read them. And that's what I'm going to start the show with every week is going to be user submissions. So know that anything that you submit in these forms are going to be prioritized, and it's going to be the first thing every week that we get into. And with that, I think I've got everything ready to go. What we're going to do for the next 20-ish minutes is talk about the National UFO Reporting Center. And if you don't know what this is, it is the dedicated collection of UFO and UAP reports. And this has been around for a long time. They actually just celebrated 50 years. So it's been around for a long time. It's came a long way on the website, and they have this nifty thing that looks just like Google Earth. And we've shown this a few times on some of the other shows, but every little dot on here is a report of a UFO, UAP sighting. And you can see there's really hot spots. Something that I've always found interesting if you look throughout some of these countries, you don't really see a whole lot. You get into China, Russia, this side of the planet. And, this could be some internet restrictions and the fact that it's Siberia in some spots. But zooming back out, you see a few in India, you see a few in Australia around the big cities. But if you look at the Western world, like the UK, and then on the horizon over here, the United States, I think it paints a pretty clear picture that some of this technology, at least, is probably secret tech that's owned by the United States. But somebody, I guess we can hone in on like where Cecil's at and look at some reports first, and then we'll drop down to Mississippi and Texas for Landa and Morgana. So London, let's see what we got. Okay, so most recent is 10/21/2025. Square glowing object with white underglow seen moving erratically eastward, bouncing between stars like a pinball. And I don't know, I'll see if this goes any deeper with like pictures. No pictures on this one. So this one happened at approximately 9:30 p.m. Eastern, roughly 30 seconds long. It says, I was outdoors in a forested area with a little light pollution and observed a distinct square-shaped glowing object in the eastern night sky at approximately 9:35 Eastern. The object had bright, angelic white underglow and appeared to move in sudden straight-line segments, seemingly bouncing from one star to another like a pinball. The movement was smooth between directional changes and appeared intelligent or controlled, not random drifting. Object did not resemble any conventional aircraft, meteor, or satellite behavior. And that's crazy because London's a pretty small town. I don't know, Cecil, do you know how many people there are in London if you're still here? I think it's like 7,000 in the city or something. But you can see for such a small town, look how many just in like the last year, people see, and especially last year with all the orb phenomena going on, it felt like there was a whole lot going on everywhere. I know that there was some unexplained stuff even in my area in northern Kentucky, close to Cincinnati, and I actually got one of them on camera, and maybe I'll cue that video up. Oh, okay, up to 10, maybe 10,000 now. But yeah, this is just, I think we could spend an infinite amount of time looking at reports. I'm not sure where in Texas. Landa said she's close to Dallas, right? So Dallas, Landa, am I looking on the left-hand side or the right-hand side for where's closest to you? If you don't say, I'm just going to pick. Yep. Okay. Let me see. I'm just going to pick one, and we're going to go with it. Okay, this one was August 29th, 2025. So this was actually over a football field. The viewer said that, stop, do not put your address in the chat. The closest distance was a quarter mile, and it was moving very slow, can't offer more than that. So they described this as a large cloud with flashing lights. So they're chilling on the back porch on a particularly cloudless night with a bright moon when I started seeing flashes of light off in the distance. Um, they're all happening in this big cloud formation coming in from the northwest. I'm thinking, cool, a lightning storm. But as it gets closer and closer, I notice I'm not hearing any sound at all. It's within a mile of me. By the time I'm like, I should absolutely hear something now, judging by the luminescence of all these lights. So I go to check out the local weather radar to see how far it really is from me. Well, there's no storm activity within an 80-mile radius of me. So I watch as this cloud keeps moving towards me, still flashing lights until it's around 3 to 4 blocks from me, where it stops and chills. Just this big white cloud and an otherwise completely clear sky with flashes of brilliant light going off inside of it. I didn't discern much of a pattern other than the flashes would tend to happen in the same area around the cloud. There were 3 areas in the cloud where I would see flashes. Judging the distance by luminescence of the flashes and their location, they formed the vertices of a triangle. It got around a quarter mile or so from my house before deciding to hang out for about an hour or so while I watched it silently burst. Let me read this again. While I watched it just suddenly burst into light, or burst this light in a triangular pattern over and over again. It struggled with that. Then it silently drifted off to the northeast. The cloud is around 100 yards in diameter, probably a little more. The skies were completely clear. This was the only cloud in the sky at the time, and my sister also witnessed this. She's an avid storm watcher, so I called her and said, "Come outside and see this shit." She confirmed she saw it and heard nothing as well, and she lives 3/4 of a mile away from me. So, Landa, you've got major UFO activity happening down the road, it sounds like. Yeah, a whole football field sized UFO. And, I personally have heard of the cloaking technology where it looks like a cloud. That's been in, they also put it into pop culture. I think it was in that Jordan Peele movie that came out about the UFO. I think its cloaking was also a cloud in the movie. And some people think that the stuff they put into popular culture is a lot of times based off of either classified or declassified documents on technology, stories, stuff like that. I'll pick one more in Dallas to check out real quick. This one was maybe a year before the last one. This is in Bedford, Texas. And this was just a small dot. And, well, this one's kind of weird because it says it looked like a typical satellite. And I'm sure that there are some false reports, but let's see what they say. So, extreme velocity dot, ESE trajectory, followed by abrupt U-turn and disappearance. So maybe that's the variant of, that's a great point, Morgana. For those listening on audio only, Morgana said that if a bit of some of the northern lights that everybody had last year wasn't something being covered up, because it was only red. Like, it wasn't really the northern lights. And, if you've been down any sort of conspiracy rabbit holes in the past, you'll know that the Northern Lights initiative, there have been artificial Northern Lights initiatives by DARPA and other aerospace technologies. I think most recently in Alaska. And they said that the side effect of these artificial experiments were a dull red light. And then people call you a conspiracy theorist. But so this says, let me see. Morgana said they got red and purple down there. And if you're listening on audio only, I don't know how many people are actually going to pick this up, but if you at the beginning of the show, if you were wondering, like, how am I going to find this form? The forms to both stories and recipes will be in every single episode description. So if you've got stories, you got crazy stories, you got awesome recipes that you want to share with the world, and you don't have a chance to, see live that the link tree's here. It's C as in cosmic, but it's a 0 instead of an O, and then crumbs. And it's just linktree.com/cosmic crumbs with a 0 instead of an O. Eddie dumping his chemical toilet in the sewer. So the report that we're on from Bedford, Texas, while in the front yard with the dog, I spotted a commercial jet on a direct west to east approach flight path, which is unusual this close to DFW Airport. As I continue to watch it fly overhead, a fast-moving dot to the north caught my eye. It was just east of due north at 60 degrees elevation and traversed east-southeast into Cygnus near Deneb in less than 3 seconds, which is impossibly fast for any satellite I've ever seen. As it passed the vicinity of Deneb, it slowed abruptly, made a fishhook U-turn to the south and back due west, and disappeared less than a second later and did not reappear. I used an astronomy app on my phone to determine an elevation angle, and it was 56 degrees of travel in that 3-second span. It was not a meteor or conventional satellites based on the extreme apparent velocity and U-turn. Some napkin math gave me an apparent velocity of between 58,000 and 70,000 miles an hour if it was at LEO altitudes. Wouldn't even guess the G-force and the transition to that U-turn, which we see that a lot with UFO sightings, like the impossible turns and the colors, like in the previous report. Yeah, I could read these all day. These stories are crazy. But I do want to go to, and if you're out there listening and you want me to look in your state, just drop your state in the chat wherever you're listening. We'll see it. But I think I want to go to Mississippi. I know Morgana's low in Mississippi. Is it Gulfport? I think Gulfport. We'll hit Gulfport first. Okay. There's a ton. Look at this. This is more than London, which I guess it should be, but this goes way back. We got 2018, 2016. There haven't been any super recent on this list. 2022. See what this one is. So Gulfport, Mississippi. Flew over my house from south to north. So it says, characteristics: lights on object, aura or haze around object, and aircraft nearby. This person says they saw 2 very huge fluorescent green circles that seemed attached, that were vertical, moving south to north in the sky. And this was at 22:16 on the 12th of May, 2022, while on my back porch smoking. This person said, I thought I heard a strange helicopter sound or something flying over when I looked up and saw 2 very huge fluorescent green hazy circles that seemed attached, flying south and north. The rings were way too big for an aircraft and looked like, 2 circles put together. I also saw an aircraft, may have been a helicopter, I heard, following closely behind it, which we've seen videos of if you're, checked into the conspiracy world, there's videos out there of objects like this being followed by helicopters, but they said that it was following closely behind it, off to the side, a little lower than the rings. The rings made the aircraft look very small in comparison. The aircraft had the normal flashing lights, but did not see any indicator lights on the rings. Also didn't see anything in front or behind the rings, just the two fluorescent green rings in a little hazy color. It was not moving too fast, but no time to grab my phone to take a pic of it. I just said out loud to myself, what the hell is that? 2 times. And it went out of sight over the tree line in the back of my yard. It was way too big to be any kind of drone or any kind of known aircraft. I really can't say what it was other than something I never saw before in the sky, that's for sure. Afterwards, I came back into the house, got my phone ready in case I saw it again, waited a few minutes before I came in the house and told my wife what I saw, and asked her to see if anyone posted anything on Facebook or any of the platforms. No posts at the time, which somebody else had to see what I experienced because I'm assuming they were huge. So that's a crazy. So Biloxi, there's definitely some in Biloxi too. Let me see. Ooh, there's one from October. This is in Biloxi, Mississippi, and this is I'm going to butcher this name. We're gonna Delberville. Who knows? I just mean the sub name of. I guess this is a neighborhood in Biloxi. Delberville. Okay. Okay. So this one was about as big as a commercial airliner, and it is, let's see, angle of elevation is 82 degrees, 5,000 feet in the sky above the clouds, and the estimated Beerville, get out of here. It ain't happening phonetically. I'm like Cecil when it comes to city names. But this person saw a silver chrome-like orb traveling at a high rate of speed above the clouds. So that I was on my walk in the neighborhood when I looked up and saw a silver chrome orb above the clouds. So this is right around peak orb time too. So they saw a silver orb above the clouds traveling at a high rate of speed, seemed to be spinning while traveling. By the time I got my phone out to take a picture, the orb disappeared into the clouds. I was really hesitant in reporting until I saw a similar type of object that was reported and filmed in Afghanistan. It was the same looking object that I saw, but really shiny. And if this was at night, it'd probably be hard to see whether it was shiny or not. But that's a weird one. We got, let's see. There were more from 2025. Let's see. And again, if you're out there and want me to pull up your state or close to where you live, just drop your city and state and we'll navigate and see what we can find. This one was also in Delberville. Jesus Christ. But this one was a disc. This was a short one, but it was a bright light that caught my eye, and I noticed that it was a disc-shaped ship. The disc-shaped ship had lights all around it and was flying at an angle, no noise, very quiet, and it was very, very large. It acts like they posted a video, but they didn't link the video. It doesn't look like. Something else that's cool that we can get into with this at some point. They also have a data bank within New Fork where you can, before it was the internet. Obviously, it's been around a lot longer than the internet. You were actually able to call, and what did I say, Yolanda? You were able to call New Fork and report UFO sightings or alien sightings or alien landings, whatever you wanted to. And you can actually get recordings of these phone calls. And that's something that I think would be really cool at some point, is to sit back and listen to some of these phone calls that people have made to report UFOs. But yeah, like I said at the beginning of the show, just to kind of take a break from UFOs, it's going to be really fluid. It's literally whatever we feel like getting into every week. If you don't feel comfortable dropping a comment while you're listening, drop a comment on the forum. Like if you have an idea for, if you want to read through like Am I the Asshole posts, or if you want to read through like the unknown Reddit or see the spooky stories, anything, we can get into whatever you all feel like, honestly. Otherwise, we're going to be on aliens for a while, because there's just so much, not even aliens, but UAPs. There's so much, and it's so conspicuous that, the U.S. looks the way it does. I may have to refresh to get the full scope of this again. But you can see like how many reports you have in the United States compared to these other countries, and it's crazy. I mean, it just screams that something weird is going on. And whenever I get manic on this kind of stuff, it's similar to Google Earth. You want to look at places and figure out what people are seeing. So I'm definitely going to be on this for a while. And if you all want to switch gears, you just let me know and we'll look at something different. But it's all going to be driven by what you want to watch, what you want to listen to, because it's just me talking. But yeah, that's the aliens portion. And we have actually brought some, let me find my other screen here. Some of those heavy areas are over ley lines. That would be awesome. Anything that you find like that, if you can connect the dots, just shoot me a link or something and we'll pull it up and connect the dots. Let me see here. Let me get back to I brought some videos for recipes to talk through them, listen to them. Just because obviously I don't have any recipes to talk about currently. Cecil, I think it was Cecil or Morgana, actually had a really good idea to get some old cookbooks and, read the recipes from old cookbooks if I can find them. But what I'm hoping is that enough people listen to where you want to pull out your old cookbook and give me some recipes. And, if we can keep this going and we accumulate recipes, we could even have like a distribution list to where anybody listening can access the archive of recipes. So it's really cool. And I think the goal, like I said, is to get it up to the point to where you guys are sharing recipes, you guys are sharing stories, and there's enough of these to where it takes up a good portion of the show so that we can go through everything. But with that said, I don't think I shared with audio originally. Let me kill the screen for a second. And I'll grab that in just 1 second. Let's see. Full screen it. Actually, I might have to go even smaller for this. I'm going to go little for a minute so I can share this. So these are sliders, almost like mini burger sliders, but there's a twist in this that I thought was super interesting, and I'll stop it when we get to the twist. Maybe. Oh, it's muted.
Part sliders are one of the most
Can you
popular
all hear
recipes on
that?
my website and have been since I
Drop something in the chat if you can hear that, because I can't hear anything. Let me see. Well, I'm going to play it, and I'm going to see if I can get audio going while I'm
started
playing
my
it.
blog, and for good reason. If you've been around for a while, then you know I've always made these with a French onion soup seasoning packet. And
You said it muted? What is going on here? Let me check mixer settings. Yeah, that's super weird that audio is doing that. Let me stop sharing for a minute. Because that is super frustrating. Okay, let me try something else. And I am going to read these off, Cecil. Just give me a minute. Try this again. No sound. Well, that is a bummer. I don't know. Yeah, I may have to test that out with somebody. But anywho, I can at least talk to it. Or were you saying you can't hear me anymore? I don't know, but I'm going to keep talking until you say that you can't. But I think what makes these killer is that, okay, great. And this is Bone Appetit on TikTok, but she mixes up a soup mix and puts it into the ground beef. And this is like a Lipton style soup mix. And she also adds, I think she added mayo right there in with the cheese. And as you know, mayo has a lot of fat in it. So I think in theory, this recipe should work really, really well. And it's almost like a combo between a sloppy Joe and an actual slider. So I think this would work really, really well in practice. But yeah, if you want to check her out, it's Bone Appetit on TikTok. some people like pickles, some people don't like pickles. Let me see. So, Morgana, I know you sent a recipe first, but okay, I'll have to scroll up, or maybe I can copy it like this. I can't copy it like that. Paste that recipe again, because I don't know if for some reason it won't let me copy it in the chat. It's got to be like on the screen. Okay, great. Let me exit out of this. So this is Irresistibly Spicy Dragon Chicken, which is an Indo-Chinese delight, it says. Is there pictures? There's no pictures. So it says that this is a vibrant dish with a perfect blend of sweet and spicy flavors, ideal for a quick and delicious meal. Yeah, am I just missing it? I might have missed it. The top. I'm missing it. Like up here, top left. This? Oh. Okay. Well, okay. That's not my fault. It does look good. It looks like classic sort of Chinese takeout. It says that prep time's 15 minutes, cook time's 15 minutes, total time's 30 minutes. And because it's a written recipe, I would say probably double that. It seems like every time you get into a recipe that says, oh, it's only 15 minutes, it ends up being like 2 hours total with the prep. But you basically marinating chicken, combining sliced chicken with egg white, cornstarch, salt, and black pepper, and allow it to marinate for 10 to 15 minutes. The cornstarch is probably key to this because that's going to give it extra crispiness whenever you fry it. But you're going to fry your chicken in your preferred oil. They use vegetable on this one over medium-high heat until golden crispy. And it says it takes about 4 to 6 minutes per batch. And then the sauce is sesame oil, sauteed garlic, ginger, chilies, ketchup, soy sauce, chili garlic sauce, vinegar, sugar, and you're simmering all this stuff. Well, it's not inherently like show image would be good. But yeah, just reading these ingredients, I think I can taste in my head what this would taste like. I don't know if they're talking about like the spicy chili garlic oil, but this could be overkill. If this is talking about the chili crisp stuff, this could be overkill with soy sauce. If it is, then you would probably want to use lower sodium soy sauce, I think. Not to say that it doesn't still sound good. It does. And me personally, for those that don't like ketchup, you can sub ketchup for sriracha. Just be careful because you're gonna get the heat up quick, and again, there's a lot of salty ingredients in this. Between the sesame oil or salty tasting sesame oil, garlic, the chilies, the soy sauce, the chili garlic sauce, and if you use ketchup and or sriracha, that's a lot of salt. And that's why a lot of times with stuff like this, you'll see also like a spicy mayo type drizzle. It's because when you have something that's super salty, maybe overly salty, even when you're out at a Chinese restaurant, you'll see a sauce like that that's more of a base that cuts through the saltiness or lowers at least the salty tasting factor. And that's a trick. If you ever find that you make one of these dishes and you're like, oh my God, this is way too salty, and it's a Chinese or a Japanese dish, Indonesian dish, if you think it's unsalvageable, make like a spicy mayo and mix it in, because that will absolutely cut down on the saltiness. Now, the salt content's still going to be there. So if you have blood pressure or something like that, you probably still don't want to eat it. But if you don't care about any of that and you just want to salvage a recipe, you cutting a base into your dish will cut the saltiness coming through. And I see you had an amendment. I don't know. Oh, well, I'm going to get a strike if I start showing stuff off of there. I don't know why that copied that way. Man, I wish it was easier to, that's something we've never tried to do, is copy links out of the chat on here, and it is not easy. The only place I can copy them is from here. And once it disappears up this line, I can't copy them anymore. Cecil submitted a grilled cheese. I don't know if that would help. It would help if you emailed it to me, but getting it from my phone to the computer would take a second. So his grilled cheese is 1 slice cheddar, 1 slice mozzarella, 1 slice American, 2 pieces of white bread, mayonnaise. Put mayonnaise on one side of each piece. Put all 3 slices of cheese between the bread. Heat in pan until it's golden brown, and eat it with a pickle on the side. So are you saying for the cheddar, you're going to use real cheddar and the straight up American cheese and mozzarella? We'll have to give that a run, because that would be interesting. I'd be scared that it all wouldn't be melty at the same time, because doesn't the American cheese melt a lot quicker? I feel like the American cheese would melt before a straight up piece of cheddar. Best grilled cheese he's ever had, he says. So give it a run. Give it a run. And Cecil, if you haven't, do a submission just so we have it for the future. Because like I said, eventually we get enough recipes. I'm going to basically have like a sublink in here to where everybody can access an archive. And, we've got kind of like a community cookbook going on. If somebody's hungry on the weekend and wants a recipe, just something different. But yeah, no worries, Linda. Thank you for joining. And, we're just going to keep doing this. But until I figure out the videos, if somebody wants to drop another recipe, we can look at that. Or I'm going to go ahead and wrap up for the week. And then hopefully next week, I'll be able to play cooking videos with audio. And it's not just, don't want to limit to thinking to only like food in respect to the stuff that we're talking about, because I would like to also get into plants that bear food, like fruit plants and stuff like that, which I had a video queued up on. It's a little known berry that's hardy in a lot of places in America. And I'll play that once we get audio up and running. But I mean, we ran for 50 minutes, so I think that's pretty good for show number one. If you're out there and have listened up to this point and you haven't followed the channel yet, and it's just randomly popped up on Kick, Twitch, Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, give a follow, and save this link somewhere to the link tree. And as you think about it, you know, if you find a recipe or something and you're like, oh, that would be cool, even if it's just a TikTok video, drop it into the forum, and you know, people can see it, and we'll play it, we'll listen to it, read it. And next week, I guess, so we're going to start the show out with reading your stories if you submit one. If no stories are submitted, I'm going back to the aliens. We're going back to planet Earth, and not aliens, but you know what I mean. Back to planet Earth. We're going to read more UFO, UAP stories, get in on even more disclosure going on. And yeah, it's going to be fun. Random stuff. We're doing random stuff every week. And when we get tired of UFOs, we'll do something else, and you all can decide what that is. But on that note, I'm going to kill the stream, and I appreciate everybody who joined. Give us a follow, and be back next week with even more, hopefully, strange stories. Thanks, everybody. Maybe.